The Young and the Restless spoilers. The shocking death of Martin, a twist in Genoa City's dark web of secrets. Genoa City has always been a place where family secrets, business empires, and personal vendettas collide, but nothing could have prepared the residents for the shocking turn of events surrounding the mysterious character of Martin. Known for his cunning, manipulative nature, and twisted schemes, Martin has left a trail of destruction in his wake, one that has made him a target for those seeking justice. Yet, in a truly unexpected twist, his fate takes a turn that no one could have predicted, and the repercussions are felt far and wide in Genoa City. The trap set by Jack and Traci. For weeks, Jack Abbott and Traci Abbott had been working tirelessly to expose Martin's treacherous activities. A man of many faces, Martin had caused untold harm to their family and many others. And they knew that, sooner or later, they would have to put a stop to his machinations. However, they could not have anticipated the complex and dangerous web of lies and deceit that Martin had woven around himself. Jack and Traci were no strangers to planning and executing strategies to bring down their enemies, but this was different. This time, the stakes were higher. And the trap they set for Martin was designed not only to bring him to justice but to ensure he could never escape again. However, as they carefully orchestrated their plan, something unexpected happened. Instead of being caught in their trap, Martin's fate took a dark and tragic turn. The man they had been preparing to confront never arrived in the way they had hoped. Instead, Martin's return to Genoa City would come in the form of a shocking, horrifying tragedy that left everyone in disbelief. Martin's return to Genoa, a new mission. A darker secret. It seemed as if Martin was finally ready to face the consequences of his actions when he returned to Genoa City under the guise of helping Sharon Newman. Sharon, who had been battling a debilitating mental illness, was in desperate need of professional care, and Martin, being a respected and highly skilled doctor, was the only one capable of helping her overcome her struggles. Despite his dark past, Martin had a reputation as a brilliant psychiatrist, and his return was met with cautious hope. Jack and Traci had no idea that Martin would come back under these circumstances, believing that he would simply be another target for their trap. But as the Abbott family prepared to take down their enemy, something insidious began to unfold. They had underestimated just how deeply Martin had embedded himself in the lives of others. And his ability to manipulate situations for his own advantage had only grown stronger. However, just as Martin was set to offer his help to Sharon, fate intervened in the most tragic way imaginable. Martin was scheduled to return to Genoa City on a flight, but the journey would not go as planned. His plane, soaring high above the skies, suddenly exploded without warning. The news spread like wildfire across Genoa City. Martin had died in a fiery crash. A mysterious death. Was it an accident or murder? The explosion of Martin's plane sent shockwaves through the city. As emergency teams and law enforcement swarmed the crash site, questions began to arise. Was this truly an accident, or had someone orchestrated his death in an effort to silence him once and for all? The authorities quickly sealed off the area, and rumors began to circulate that there was more to the story than met the eye. For Jack and Traci, the news was nothing short of devastating. They had been prepared to confront Martin, but now, it seemed that their enemy had outwitted them once again. What started as a carefully planned attempt to expose Martin and bring him to justice had now turned into a race against time to uncover the truth behind his mysterious death. Traci, in particular, found herself struggling to make sense of the situation. As the news of Martin's death reached her, she was consumed by a flood of emotions. She had never fully understood her own feelings toward Martin. Was it love, or was it simply the deep emotional scars that he had left on her over the years? Traci found herself questioning everything she thought she knew about him, wondering if he had truly cared for her in some twisted way or if he had simply used her for his own dark purposes. As Traci sat alone, grappling with her emotions, a deep sense of confusion and sorrow took over. She was left to wonder if her feelings for Martin had been genuine or if she had been manipulated by him all along. Was her grief a reflection of real love? Or was it simply the echo of years of emotional manipulation and false promises? The disturbing possibility, was the plane crash a hoax? In the midst of the chaos, a disturbing thought began to creep into the minds of those who had been following Martin's trail of deceit. Was the plane crash truly an accident? Or had Martin orchestrated the entire event to escape his past once and for all? Could it be that he had faked his death, planning to slip away undetected and continue living a life of freedom and manipulation? This theory seemed almost too outrageous to believe, yet it made a certain kind of sense. Martin had always been a master of deception, someone who could manipulate people and situations to his advantage. What if the plane crash was simply another of his twisted schemes? A way to avoid the consequences of his actions and disappear without a trace? The more the authorities investigated, the more questions arose. The wreckage of the plane was found in a remote location, and no one could seem to identify the cause of the explosion. Some speculated that the crash might have been a cover-up, an elaborate ruse designed to make it look like an accident while hiding the true nature of Martin's disappearance. Could he have staged the entire event to escape the pursuit of Jack, Traci, and the law? The thought was chilling, but it was not entirely outside the realm of possibility. Martin had always been one step ahead of his pursuers, and now it seemed that he had outwitted them once again. Martin's ultimate return, the unforeseen revelation. Just as everyone began to come to terms with the idea that Martin was truly gone, something far more shocking happened. In a twist no one saw coming, Martin made his reappearance in Genoa City, but not in the way anyone had expected. In a carefully calculated move, Martin had staged his death as a means of escaping the mounting pressure and attention surrounding him. As Genoa City residents continued to mourn his death, Martin was quietly slipping back into the shadows, preparing for his next move. His return would not come in the way of an explosive entrance or a grandiose declaration, but instead, he would re-enter Genoa City unnoticed, continuing his life as if nothing had ever happened. As the shockwaves of his death began to fade, Martin's true intentions would soon be revealed. His re-emergence would throw the Abbott family and the entire city into disarray once again, as they realized that the man they thought was dead had been playing them all along. Martin's twisted game was far from over, and the final chapter of his dark story had yet to be written. In the end, Martin's death, or rather, his faked death, was just another chapter in his long, complicated history of lies and manipulation. Genoa City was not ready for the storm that was about to hit, and no one could predict what Martin's next move would be as he continued to pull the strings from behind the scenes. The return of Martin, Jack's doubts and the investigation ahead. In the heart of Genoa City, where secrets are never far from the surface and every family harbors its own set of demons, the death of Martin has left the Abbott family and many others questioning everything they thought they knew. The shocking explosion that supposedly claimed Martin's life should have brought closure to the years of torment he inflicted on so many, but for Jack Abbott, something feels amiss. As the evidence points toward a tragic accident, Jack's suspicions about the true fate of Martin only deepen. He can't shake the feeling that there's more to this story than meets the eye, and he's not ready to let his enemy off the hook just yet. Jack's doubts, the unsolved mystery of Martin's death. As the news of Martin's supposed death spreads throughout Genoa City, Jack is one of the few who refuses to accept it as fact. The authorities have already declared the crash an accident, and Martin's name has been cleared from the immediate suspicion of foul play. But Jack knows Martin better than most. He's a man of manipulation, a man who thrives on control and chaos. The thought that such a calculating and ruthless individual could meet such a simple end doesn't sit well with Jack. Sitting in the quiet of his office, Jack stares at the latest reports on the explosion, a lingering unease creeping over him. He knows the way Martin thinks, the way he operates. A man like Martin wouldn't go down so easily. And Jack can't shake the nagging suspicion that the explosion was merely a diversion. His mind races with possibilities. Was Martin really on that plane? Or was the crash part of a much larger, more insidious plan? Had he faked his own death to slip away into the shadows once again? Jack knows one thing for sure, he can't take this at face value. Something isn't right. And he can't let it go. Jack's plan: chance takes over the investigation. Knowing that the authorities might have missed something, Jack decides to take matters into his own hands. His instincts have never failed him before, and if there's even a shred of doubt about Martin's death, he will get to the bottom of it. With a determined look on his face, Jack reaches out to Chance Chancellor, the local police detective with the authority and expertise to dig deeper into the case. "Chance, I need you to investigate the crash again," Jack says, his voice firm with urgency. "I don't believe Martin's dead. I think it's a trap, a scheme he set up to escape us. We can't let him slip away again." Chance, always a man of reason and thorough investigation, nods thoughtfully. "I understand, Jack. I'll look into it. I've seen enough to know that sometimes things aren't as clear as they seem. I'll get to the bottom of this." Jack's faith in Chance is unwavering. He trusts the detective's judgment and knows that Chance's expertise will uncover the truth, whatever that may be. As Chance sets the wheels of the investigation in motion, Jack feels a sense of control returning. He might not have all the answers yet, but he's on the path to uncovering what really happened to Martin. The burning question: did Martin really die in the crash? As Chance begins his investigation, the key question remains: did Martin board that plane? Was he truly on it when it exploded, or did he orchestrate the explosion himself, setting up an elaborate ruse to fake his own death and escape the consequences of his actions? Jack is certain that Martin is capable of such a scheme. The man is a master manipulator, a genius at playing people and circumstances to his advantage. If anyone could orchestrate such a devious plan, it's Martin. Jack doesn't believe that Martin would have been foolish enough to allow himself to be killed. He's too smart, too calculating. This explosion might very well be his attempt to disappear from the radar, leaving everyone to believe he's dead while he vanishes into the wind, free to continue his schemes undisturbed. Martin is not the kind of man who would just die in a plane crash. He's far too clever for that, Jack says, his voice heavy with conviction. "This isn't over. I won't rest until I know the truth." Traci's grief and Jack's words of caution. Meanwhile, Traci is struggling to process the news of Martin's supposed death. The complex emotions she harbors for him are difficult to sort through. Traci has been through so much with Martin: love, pain, betrayal, and now, with his apparent death, she's left with a storm of emotions swirling inside her. Did she truly care for him? Or was she just another victim of his manipulations? Was her grief real, or was it a response to years of emotional abuse? As she cries alone, Jack approaches her, his voice soft and reassuring. He understands her pain, but he also knows that they can't allow themselves to be consumed by emotions when there are bigger questions at play. "Traci," Jack says gently, placing a hand on her shoulder, "I know you're upset, but you can't let this cloud your judgment. Don't trust that Martin is really gone. If he is truly dead, then we should be relieved. We shouldn't mourn a man who hurt so many of us. We should be glad he's gone for good." Traci looks up at him, her eyes filled with confusion. She knows Jack is right, Martin's death should mean an end to the suffering he caused, but the emotional bond she shared with him complicates everything. She's not sure if she's grieving the loss of the man she thought she loved, or the loss of the idea of him, the man he pretended to be. "I don't know what to believe anymore, Jack," Traci admits, her voice shaky. "I'm not sure if I should be relieved or just lost." Jack sighs, his heart aching for his sister. "I know it's not easy. But you have to trust me on this. If Martin is truly gone, then we can move forward. If not, we need to stay strong and make sure he never hurts anyone again. The calm before the storm. As Chance delves into the investigation, new evidence begins to surface. It's not long before the investigation takes a dramatic turn, and Jack's suspicions are confirmed. The explosion wasn't an accident, it was a meticulously planned scheme by Martin to fake his death and escape into the shadows. The pieces are starting to come together. And the truth is slowly revealing itself. For Jack and Traci, the truth is both a relief and a curse. The knowledge that Martin is alive and plotting from the shadows fills them with dread. But it also gives them the clarity they need to take action. They now know that the battle is far from over, and that the real threat of Martin's manipulations still looms large over their lives. As Genoa City braces for what's to come, one thing is certain: the Abbott family is not done with Martin yet. The investigation is just beginning, and the twisted game of cat and mouse between Jack, Traci, and Martin has only just begun. Will Martin's latest deception be his downfall, or will he continue to manipulate those around him, staying one step ahead in this dangerous game? Only time will tell.